Hey, hello. Welcome to episode number 60 of the People We Love podcast. I am Adam Choit. What's up? If you're new here, what I do is interview people from all walks of life, often comedians and other artists, about their lives and careers. It's casual conversation, but I also ask everyone to highlight someone they love, someone who they admire, who influenced them, inspired them, supported them. For more, check out peoplewelovepodcast.com. That's peoplewelovepodcast.com. And the Instagram handle is People We Love Podcast. And you can find me on Instagram as well, Adam Choit, my name. And remember to tap subscribe or follow on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. And of course, 5-star positive reviews on iTunes are greatly appreciated as well. So, today's guest is comedian Kyle Rehl. Originally from Woodstock, Georgia, he never felt like he totally fit in because his parents were both originally from the Northeast and kind of trying to fit in themselves in a way in the South. That all changed though when Kyle arrived at a new school in 5th grade and reconnected with a preschool friend, Patrick McPherson. Kyle observed how Patrick and his friends used humor, and wanting to fit in socially, Kyle discovered a love for comedy then and there and hasn't looked back. And that wasn't the only time Patrick inspired Kyle with comedy. Patrick got into stand-up comedy first too, and Kyle just had to follow suit. Kyle, an undersized high school football center who enjoyed making video sketches with his friends, chats with me about comedy, LA, and all about his buddy, Patrick. Let's just get into this one. Here's Kyle Rehl. So it's good to see you today, Kyle Rehl.
You too.
Thank you for dropping by the studio. I appreciate it.
Adam, thanks for having me, man.
Oh, for sure. How's your day going?
Pretty good. I'm working part-time right now, so this is my Friday.
This is your Friday.
This Tuesday is my Friday. I work 3 days a week now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I want that life.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, it is pretty cool.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. So you have a lot of, obviously, time to do comedy. That's right. The idea, is to keep your schedule open and your nights open to
exactly.
To do comedy.
Yes. Try to structure my life more. I was just like working a lot at my job, and like I found that I was really tired at the end of the day, and like I would still like go do shows or whatever, but like I wouldn't be like energized the way I wanted to be or like focused. So I have some money saved up. So I was like, yeah, let's just do part-time for a while. Just like,
nice.
Yeah, my bosses were cool with it. So
yeah, it's always good. that keeps coming up over and over again, is finding that balance with your day job and and what you're pursuing, and not letting the day job get in the way of the long-term thing and your passion. Absolutely,
man. Cause I feel like so many people kind of like, I felt like this was happening to me, like just months would go by and it would happen so quickly. And I'd be like, damn, I didn't really even do anything like I wanted to accomplish in like these couple of months. Cause like, I think it's just easy to let your job just kind of like dictate your whole life.
So yeah. Cause especially if it's your paycheck, your bread and butter, right? and all that. And you want to do well and make more money there. And that can become a goal in itself. What did you not do that you want to do? You just not focused on comedy, not writing? Like what is it that you wanted to pursue or didn't go far enough in?
I think it was a couple things. I think one, it was like I was kind of like just generally just depressed because I just felt like all of my time and energy was going into this job, which is like it's like a good environment and stuff, but I'm not really passionate about it.
Right.
So I felt like I was like robbing myself of like all this time. So that was part of it. I wanted to just write more and like try more creative stuff, like make sketches and like I don't know, like write scripts and write more stand up and like go on the road more and like that kind of stuff.
All of the above. The time, the time is a big thing, and I think as I get older and older, I think that's something I realize is that like your time is kind of your most valuable resource.
Dude, it really is. It's like it's the most finite resource that you have.
Yep.
And you don't know how much of it you even have. Like, you know how much is in your bank account, but you don't know how much time you have.
No.
You have no idea.
I'm going to need a alcohol in this drink soon enough after this conversation.
Yeah, this is getting deep.
Yeah, why don't we get into it and we can start from the beginning. So why don't you tell me about your birth and your childhood and growing up, and we could start from when you left the hospital.
Okay, yeah, left the hospital. I was like, all right, this is pretty chill. I got like a mom and a dad. That's a good setup.
Sweet.
Live in America. That's pretty cool.
Not a bad start.
It's good country to live in, I guess. Yeah, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. And I grew up in Woodstock, Georgia. It's like probably like 30 minutes outside the city, really suburban. Yeah, it was an interesting. My childhood was kind of interesting because like growing up, my parents were pretty conservative, and I feel like over time they've become a lot less conservative, and they're like pretty religious. So that was like an interesting upbringing.
they were conservative in their politics and the religion and just to how they raised, like culturally, kind of a little bit of all of the above.
Yeah, kind of all of the above. Like we weren't allowed to watch TV until I was like 8 or 9, something like that. Yeah. And then even then, like I couldn't watch certain shows. Like I wasn't allowed to watch like SpongeBob for a long time and like stuff like that. So that was kind of weird. And which is interesting because my older brother, Chris, he grew up and now he's a TV writer. So it's like kind of like, I guess that was like maybe his way of like rebelling or whatever.
Sure. Maybe yours too, I think. We'll get to it.
Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, so it was like, just like a conservative kind of household in the South. But my parents aren't Southern. Like my dad grew up in upstate New York and my mom's from New Jersey. So it's kind of interesting because even like I felt like an outsider almost because like, everyone else's family for the most part was
generational or something like that.
Yeah. So like I didn't really feel like I blended in with the culture as much there. Like the whole time I grew up, like even going to school and stuff, it was like seen as like cool to be like Southern kind of and like country and like.
And your parents weren't that way because they weren't from there.
No, they weren't. But I feel like they adopted a lot of like the religious aspect of it and stuff, at least like growing up and stuff.
Yeah. When you were like 5, 6, 7 years old, even before you were, not first allowed to watch TV, did you remember like feeling left out or like aware?
Yes.
You remember being aware of like your parents not letting you do things or whatever the case may be?
For sure, yeah, because I would like go to other people's houses and then we'd watch TV and I'd be like, oh my god, we get to watch TV. I was like soaking it in. And I also even remember like going to school and like kids would talk about like the latest like hot episode of like SpongeBob or whatever. And like I didn't get to experience that. So I definitely had some FOMO about it for a while as a kid. But yeah, it was interesting like going to other kids' houses and like seeing how they live compared to how we lived. But over time they like eased up on a lot of that stuff. I think my brothers helped with that a lot. I'm the youngest kid.
Yeah.
So they kind of like took a lot of the bullets for me. But yeah, grew up there.
What did you do for fun when you were like a kid? No TV, so you had to find something else.
Yeah.
Or your parents pushed you into something else, or sports, or what were you watching? Or no, obviously not watching. Maybe the movies.
Yeah.
Movies.
I played outside a lot. And yeah, sports like baseball. I did a lot of baseball. I did a lot of like travel baseball as a kid, which is crazy when I look back at it. Cause like my brothers and my mom and my dad would just like go with me and my team across like the South just to play like other like 7-year-olds in baseball, which is
at
like
that young, huh?
Yeah, which is like nuts. Cause it's like, wow. And it wasn't even like I was like supremely talented or something. It was like, I was good, but it wasn't like this guy's going to be the LeBron James of baseball.
So they have leagues where you, I guess, they travel even if it's not super high level competition.
Yeah. It's pretty weird. Yeah.
Why not just play Little League in your town?
I think that, yeah.
I don't know.
Honestly, I agree. Like
it must have been a higher level league that you were playing in, even at a young age.
I think we were kind of. Yeah, we were competing in like regional like tournaments and stuff. So it was like a little bit of a higher level, I guess. But like, I think honestly, a lot of it was just like trying to have something to fill the time.
Yeah, maybe. But you enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played baseball up until like 5th grade, and then I moved to so I went to like a public school growing up that was close to my house. Shouts out Bascom Elementary. And then when I turned, I guess I was like 10 or 11, I went to a private school. And then I just was in a private school for like the rest of my time and like grade school until I graduated from high school. It was like the same
like school. Yeah. What kind of student were you even before you moved and then when you moved?
I was always pretty studious. I think that was part of it too. Like, trying to entertain myself. Like I really enjoyed like history stuff as a kid a lot. Like once I started to be allowed to watch TV, I'd always watch like the History Channel and stuff. I was really into it. And like war movies and stuff. Just like reading like picture books about like different historical events.
You're an interested, curious kid.
Yeah, I think so.
And this translated to school.
Yeah, a little bit.
Even in math and science and stuff that wasn't history?
Not math. I've never been good at math. I can't. Man, I don't fuck with math. I can't. My brain just doesn't. It was more like the humanities, I guess, like history and then like English and stuff. I was more into. I always like even when I was like super young, I would like stack a bunch of books in my room because I'm like a night owl. Like I can't fall asleep at night. My mom would always say that, like she'd come into the room the next day and there'd just be a bunch of like open books all over the floor, like like every morning.
You never finished them, but you did, but you'd go bounce from one to the other.
Yeah, I was
You'd
like all over
them.
the place. Yeah. So, yeah, it was kind of an interesting upbringing.
And what about when you went to the new school, the private school? Were you a good student there? What were your sort of interests, and what was your life like at that school?
It was, I remember the adjustment being hard because it was one of those schools, it's like K through 12. So everybody in like my class that I was joining had known each other from like, since like really early on.
And you were in sixth? This
was fifth grade.
This was fifth grade.
Yeah. And one of my friends, Patrick, who I had actually gone to preschool with.
Patrick McPherson.
Patrick McPherson, right. Way back in the day, we went to preschool together. We were really good friends. And then he went to a different elementary school than I did. And then we like re-linked up in like fifth grade, basically.
That's cool.
Yeah. And he was like, I remember getting there and like being nervous because he was like so popular. And I was like,
because he was already at that school.
Yeah, he was already at that school.
And you hadn't really even been in touch with him at this
I hadn't.
point.
No, we had like lost connection.
People change since preschool.
Dude, people change a lot since pre-K.
Preschool, a lot can happen between preschool and fifth grade.
Yeah, man. So, and I remember like I kind of felt nerdy because I just started wearing like contacts and like glasses and stuff. So I was wearing glasses, and I felt like kind of like a little bit of an outcast or whatever. But I remember like specifically like this is where I realized I had to start being funny because like Patrick was really funny. And like all of his friends were funny, and that's why they were like liked and popular. So I was like, I got to learn how to be funny so I can like fit in with all these kids because I'm like so behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense.
So I remember just like doing everything I could, just like take notes of like funny stuff happening.
You were taking notes already.
Maybe not like writing down, but like mental notes. Yeah, like mental notes.
notes.
Yeah. And just trying to keep up socially, you know?
For sure.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of where it all started for me in terms of being funny and stuff. And I think Patrick played a pretty pivotal role in that because it pushed me to you know try to emulate like some of the stuff that he was doing, some of the really highbrow jokes that fifth graders are telling. You know what I mean?
It's funny how you seem to remember in pretty great detail this specific time and this moment.
Dude, I do
in your life.
Yeah, because I was like so anxious about it. Like I would go home and just be like, man, I don't know if anybody likes me. Like I don't know if I like this school. Like blah blah blah.
And this was like when you first got there, the first month, the first 2 months, and like,
yeah. It was honestly like the first several months of going to school there.
And did eventually get comfortable and Patrick and his people accepted you?
Yes, yeah. I think so, like after definitely towards the second half of the year or whatever. But yeah, and then that kind of like built momentum into the following years.
Was it
and
something
stuff.
you did or something that changed or some moment that like got you to be part of the crew, or is it just something that very gradually, just day after day, like without even really thinking about it, just one day you wake up and you're like, okay, that's my core friend group? Yeah,
I think it was kind of a gradual thing, but there's definitely a couple moments I remember. Like there was one time we were like in homeroom and I just like, it was really quiet. I think everyone was like reading or something. And I just ripped ass like so hard. Yeah. I just farted so hard. It wasn't even on purpose, but it was just like maybe I thought I was gonna be silent kind of situation.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, like everyone's been there, and it was like super loud, and everyone laughed, and I kind of felt embarrassed at first, but then I realized that like everyone seemed to be enjoying the laughter because I guess it was like a reprieve from the work we were doing or whatever. So I remember that moment, which is such a ridiculous, like, oh, I farted.
Yeah, your fart went better than mine. Mine.
What was yours like?
Mine was during a test, and it was really quiet, and I think it got more gasps and like, oh my goodness, and people going like this. It didn't smell, but
yeah,
it wasn't hilarity. Like like yours was.
That's how you gain cred in fifth grade, you know?
I should have tried again.
I should have
farted loud. I should have farted more in school.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. It's like, yeah, you got to try all the different noises with your position on the seat, you know? I think it's all about the noise, you know?
For sure. So it sounds like you were good at farting, good at making new friends eventually, and pretty good student besides math. What about the rest of your high school life? Were you a good student? What were you into socially? You said you kind of quit baseball or weren't into baseball then.
Yeah, so I quit baseball. Ended up playing football like in middle school and stuff, and that kind of became like a big thing for me. Is just playing football. Also like socially, I think like the jock or whatever thing. So
you meet other people playing football. There's other people on the team.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And also like, I think it's like a good bond, like the bond you get with like teammates, especially like in a really physical sport like that, like the respect you gain with your peers is a good feeling. So I did that through like middle school, and then into my freshman year of high school, I played. And then
what position did you play?
Here's the thing. I was really tiny, like weight wise in like middle school and pretty much like the beginning of high school. Like I was like 160, like probably like 6'4", 6'1", but I was playing like center, which is like pretty undersized. So I was just getting like manhandled like all the time.
You were there because it was necessary. There was no one else out of necessity.
I guess so. The whole time I was like, I think I should be a receiver, and they're like, "Nah, you're gonna play. You've always played the line or whatever." And I was like, I wasn't bad for my size. Like I was pretty scrappy.
What were you a good receiver, or did you?
I thought I was, but I guess that we didn't really pass the ball that much. We were kind of more of a running team.
Yeah.
So I guess they just thought they needed my services blocking more, but
we'll never know.
We'll never. What could have been, right? Yeah. And then so I played up till my freshman year, and then ended up quitting because our coach was just a fucking dick. He was such a dick, dude. And
in high school.
Yeah, I quit my freshman year.
This was like the varsity coach or whatever?
Yeah, well, so our school was so tiny that our varsity and JV team were essentially just one team.
Yeah, just the varsity team, I guess.
Yeah. And like, I think there's probably 100 kids in my class. So it was like the JV, like I'm a freshman, I'm going against a senior who's like going to like a D2 school next year to play like college football. And I'm just getting absolutely destroyed. Like, this isn't okay. Like that's happening like every day. And so, and we were a bad team. We lost I think we were like, I don't even know. I think we only won like 3 games.
You're a bad team, but you have a few like serious players because it's like the South, and some people go on to play like Division II or
exactly,
or maybe even more than that. But
yeah.
For the most part, you guys stink.
Yeah, we were
bad.
Have
a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. And we're playing teams at this time who were like really, really good, even though that they're not like the biggest school. But like, and just getting destroyed. It was demoralizing. It's like you put in all this work and you lose by like 40 points like every week. And it's like, why am I doing this?
Did Patrick play also? Or?
Yeah. Patrick was, he was a little bit bigger than me. He played like linebacker and stuff though. But yeah, he was good, man. He was, but he also quit too. Like a whole bunch of us quit our freshman year because we were just like, fuck this. It was like a protest.
Because the coach was just a dick.
Yeah, he was. He was a dick,
I was going to ask you like what made him a dick, but I feel like I kind of know. Like what makes a coach a dick? He yells. He's not nice. He's not fair to the players. He's not giving people opportunity. All the reasons a coach would be a dick is probably either some combination, all of those, or whatever. Yeah,
pretty much, man. You pretty much nailed it. I mean, he was just like way too hard on us. He really ran us into the ground. So like by the time like the game came around, we were already like really tired. So I was like, this is probably why we're losing.
Dick and a bad coach.
Yeah, just like not smart, and like I don't know. I just hated his energy. I remember like I told my mom I was going to quit, and she's like, you have to go into his office. You have to tell him face to face you're going to quit.
As opposed to what would be the other way to do it? Just not show up.
Just not show up. Yeah, because that's what everyone else did.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man. I remember like crying because I really didn't want to do it because I knew he was going to be such an asshole about it. And yeah, I had to do it. But yeah, a ton of us quit.
Was he an asshole about it?
Kind of. Yeah, like I don't think he got where I was coming from at all. And I was like,
he doesn't know he's a dick.
yeah, exactly.
No one's ever told him.
Yeah, dicks are like, they're oblivious, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, like he ended up getting fired like a couple of years later.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. And then all of us joined the team again for our senior year. And then we went undefeated.
Wow.
And we won like the school's first playoff game. And then we ended up losing, I think, in like the second round. But
did anyone ever ask that coach, like, what do you think of the team going on undefeated without you?
I wish, dude.
I want to get a soundbite of him in the newspaper, get his reaction.
Dude, that would have made me feel so good inside to just see his reaction to that. Oh, I wish, man.
We could dream.
Yeah, maybe we can get him on the podcast. We'll ask him about it.
Oh, maybe he's listening. Yeah. So senior year you were undefeated. You're playing football again. It seemed like things were going well. Where were you at? I mean, obviously you got into comedy at some point. Were you doing comedy at this point? Were you watching comedians? Like, where are you at? What were you into, like, as far as like I'm sure you start to watch more TV and movies and things like that.
Yeah.
High school.
Oh, dude, for sure. Yeah. Like once I was allowed to watch TV, I like really got into it. And then like I said, like initially like 5th grade, learning to be funny, all that stuff. And then like in middle school, I'd like go home every day and like watch like Mad TV or like just like half-hour specials on Comedy Central. Like I remember watching Nick Swartzen's special and like really liking it. Kind of like always in the back of my mind, like really admiring the art form, I guess. And then like in high school, like, you know, kind of at the beginning of YouTube and stuff, I started like making sketches with friends.
That's cool. Was that something that you spearheaded? Was this your idea, or is it just kind of organically came with you and your friends who were interested in
I think
comedy?
I think we were all just like really interested in it. And like we all wanted to emulate, you know, like all that stuff. And this was like the height of like The Office and like you were saying, like all those shows and stuff. So yeah, we got into it. I remember, I think it was like my sophomore year, I made this sketch in my like AV class called Special K, where I was like a rapper. And it was like a mockumentary of me being a rapper at this like predominantly, you know, like bougie private school or whatever. And I remember,
is that what your school was, kind of?
A little bit, yeah. Like my family was like upper middle class, and like I don't think that I would say we were like wealthy or anything like that. Like we were definitely doing well, but a lot of these other kids were like living in like mansions and stuff.
Yeah, and this was like a heightened version of like that your school was kind of.
Yeah.
I got you.
So I remember making that video, and then they like played it in assembly. And everyone like really liked it. And I remember that moment, I was like, oh, I fucking love this feeling. Like everyone was like laughing at this thing that I had made like with my friends. And yeah, I don't know. I just like remember like afterward getting like people coming up to me and like telling me how much they liked it. I think a lot of it was just like inside jokes about like the school.
But you knew your audience.
Yeah. So that was definitely a moment where I was like, oh, I really like this feeling, you know? And then I didn't really get into comedy until college.
What was like the end? What were your plans like after high school, or like where were you at? Were you planning to go to college? Were you planning to study a certain thing?
Yeah. So like,
where were you at?
I remember I got into a couple schools I wanted to go to, but I just couldn't afford to go to them. So I ended up staying in state and going to the University of Georgia because they have like a really good like scholarship program where it's like not that expensive if you stay in state. And I remember being a little bit bummed that I couldn't go to these other schools. And I had a little bit of a rough time like my freshman year because it was
Where's the University of Georgia again?
It's in Athens, Georgia. It's probably like an hour and a half away from Atlanta. Kind of like North Georgia, like in the mountains. It's kind of like it's a cool vibe. It's like, they have like a good downtown area. They have like so many bars, dude. I think they have like 50 bars in like 2 square miles or something. Like it's definitely like a party school.
College town.
Yeah. But there's also like a cool like artsy background. They had like REM is from there, and like
sounds cool. But you were saying it was an adjubment. You were about to go into something saying
yeah. Sorry, I'm like all over the place.
No, it's fine. I'm just it's just curious. I'm like you're about to say that, but you're also telling me it's awesome. Like I want to go there, but well, tell me what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
Or is it just his life at the time?
I think it was me because like I said, I went to that school from like my high school from like 5th grade to my senior year. It was like all the same people basically. Like everyone in my class I had known since I was like 10, 11.
And you like that.
Yeah, and it was like familiar, and
Sure.
I never really developed like social skills in terms of like meeting new people.
You only had to do it that one time when you were in 5th grade.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was like this whole new.
You got it out of the way then, you thought.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like this whole new scary adjustment, and like Patrick ended up going to a different school, and he was like my best friend. And
You knew no one at the University of Georgia, or did you?
I knew
it's a huge school.
It's a big school. Yeah, I ended up rooming with this other guy that went to my school, who I was like friends with, but we didn't really hang out too much in high school. But he was cool. He was like a great dude. Yeah. So and I remember just like really struggling with a lot of that, and like I don't know, it was a weird adjustment. Like my first like year and a half there was tough for sure, and then.
It's just socially or academically or just
mainly just socially
finding your place.
Yeah, just finding my place, finding my group. Like there's like a lot of frat people, and I didn't really vibe with that too much. And then there was like artsy people, but I didn't like feel like I was that artsy or like look artsy.
Yeah, you're like me.
yeah,
kind of a little bit.
Yeah, just like this weird like in between kind
I
of
just
thing.
was friends with I just became friends with the people who I lived closest to freshman year. That kind of became a friend, and other people too from different circles. But for those are the people I ended up living with. Was the people I kind of lived with.
Me too.
Freshman year.
Yeah. I like those are exactly. I kind of ended up like all the people in my hall. I just ended up hanging out with them basically, and then kind of slowly over time, kind of like drifted away from that friend group. But my like the end of freshman year, my friend Patrick started working at this dinner theater thing.
Is it a different Patrick?
Same Patrick.
Same
sorry.
Patrick.
Yeah, same Patrick.
Okay. Yeah.
He started working at this like dinner theater, this comedy dinner theater thing in Atlanta. It was called Dinner Detectives, and it was like just like a parody of like a murder mystery thing, basically. And he was one of like the titular characters or whatever, a detective, right? So he got me like an audition with that. So then I started doing that over the summer.
This was like a scripted thing we're acting in?
It was mainly scripted. There was some improv too. But yeah, it was mainly scripted.
And you had no experience performing other than doing sketches in high school with your friends? Is that kind of...
I did 2 plays in high school.
You did?
Yeah. They were like dramatic though. One of them was like the first one I did was like a much bigger role than the second one. But I had never done like comedy like in front of people before.
Yeah, nothing live like that.
Yeah. So I did that for like my entire like summer after my freshman year, and then just kept doing it like a couple times a month from then on. Like
in Atlanta, you'd come down.
Yeah, like drive. Yeah, and I feel like that helped hone some of those like those skills and those instincts or whatever. I think it definitely helped with like crowd work stuff because there's like a lot of just like talking to people at tables in between.
So
scenes.
What kind of show exactly was it?
It was like, so like there's 2 detectives and like a murder happens at the very beginning of the show. And then the detectives come in and they give them like this funny like spiel, like, I'm this detective. And they're just like idiots. They're just like not.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. So
I see. It's scripted, but the audience kind of participates in the story.
Right. And then everyone has to like figure out like who did it, basically.
That sounds fun. Was it? It sounds like a lot of fun.
It was cool. It was fun for the most part. I think that the humor wasn't necessarily exactly like my type of humor.
Sure.
Because it was pretty broad and like a lot of the audience was like, kind of like older people or whatever. So you couldn't be like too dirty or like too whatever.
It's not edgy.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly not edgy. Yeah.
No.
But it was good though. It was like a good experience. It was a solid experience. And then Patrick started doing stand up. And I remember when he started doing stand up, I was like, oh, I should start doing it. Cause like if he's doing it, like I can do it for sure. You know what I mean?
Takes.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes to
like,
see appear,
Dude, totally. Buddy system. You know what I mean?
Not to slight him necessarily.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
not at all, man. He definitely helped push me into doing it. And then, so I started doing stand-up at the University of Georgia, and they had like their own kind of little scene there. It was like, it wasn't the biggest scene in the world. It's pretty small, but it was cool. It was very supportive, and I ended up meeting like a whole other group of friends through doing stand up who I really gelled with.
What do you remember about the first time is that the first time you ever done stand up was at the University of Georgia?
Yeah.
Do you remember your first performance or your very early performances, what that was like?
Yeah, I remember.
What you talked about on stage even, how it went?
Yeah, I remember the first time I did it, it went really well. And I think part of that is because, like, when people know it's your first time, they're very supportive.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people who tell me their first time doing stand-up, it goes well. And then it's 2 through 40 that sometimes are tougher.
Dude, yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. Yeah. I mean, all my jokes are, like, trash. Like, I don't even really remember, but they weren't good. It was very, like, me trying to be kind of, like, edgy and, like, whatever. It wasn't me. You know what I mean? But I think there was something in me that was like, you got to try it or whatever. And so the first time went pretty well. And then subsequent times were like really rough. And then I was like, what's going on? So then I kind of like stopped doing it for a while. And then I guess my sophomore year, I started doing it again. No, sorry, not my junior year, I started doing it again. Like,
what
more seriously.
inspired you to start doing it? Just because you liked it and you just wanted to try it again? Or was
I was dating this girl and we broke up. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I gotta like reprioritize my life and like start doing the things that I want to do and like just try it, you know? And like, yeah. So I started doing it a couple more times a week, probably like 2 or 3 times a week because it's a small scene. So you couldn't really get up too much.
But that's still impressive to like, you know, you're a college student to do things outside of what's required of you. Or what were you studying at the time? Did you have a major?
Yeah, I started off college as a philosophy major, and then immediately was like, this is not for me. This is too much reading. I can't do this much reading. And then I started doing it's called mass media arts. It's just like a pretty vague major in communications,
sure.
But it was like a lot of like video stuff, like video editing and like videography.
There's production.
Yeah, kind of. It was like our version of like film school, but it was like not as big of it wasn't like a own separate college or whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah, you were telling me about doing stand-up 2-3 times a week.
Yeah. So yeah, I just did that for a while, like through my senior year. And then when I graduated, kind of was like, I don't think there's really anything for me in Georgia. Like, I don't know, like there's nothing really entertainment wise I want to do here. I applied to some stuff that I felt like I was aligned with and I didn't get in. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to LA because my brother lives out there and
he was already out here working and all that.
Yeah. And he was like working on a TV show at the time. And I was like, you know, there's like way more opportunity for entertainment stuff in LA. And like, obviously the stand-up scene there is huge. So it's like, let's just do it. So
you must have gotten better at stand-up in that time when you dove back into it with sort of a refocused commitment or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, doing it only like twice a week, it's pretty limiting in that, like, you know, you get, you know, it's better than not doing it at all for sure. And I will say this, like, definitely was very much in a bubble. Like the scene in Athens, it's all college kids. So it's like kind of a specific, you're only playing for one demo. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like young kids who are your age.
You're not getting exposed to different ideas on stage. You're not being exposed to different audiences off stage either.
Right.
I guess.
Exactly. Yes. You nailed it. That's exactly what it was. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like the shows there were great. It was, I think I'm grateful because it was so supportive that it gave me like confidence to do it, and the people there were great and stuff. But yeah, I think that really I've noticed the biggest change since I moved here, and my development has been a lot faster, like growth wise and everything. So, yeah, man. It's been a wild ride. Is it
3 times a week is sort of the magic number that you should get out on a stage and do it minimum? Is that to get better? 2 is pushing it. It's almost not enough.
No, I would say it's got to be more than that.
Yeah, every night as much as you can.
Yeah. Like that's the thing too. It's like you get to a point in a certain, like where you live in a certain town and you're like, well, this scene's not big enough for me to keep getting better. So I have to move to a bigger scene so I can
just have more opportunity.
Yeah, I try to get up like minimum 6 times a week. And if I can do more than that, then I will for sure. Because I think that just the repetition and like just the getting up that much allows you to just have the freedom to try so much different shit so much faster. So you can like, as opposed to like getting up twice a week, it would take me 3 weeks to get up 6 times.
Right.
Whereas here I can get up 6 times in a week easy.
You could find out what works and what's not working fast.
Exactly.
Is that basically it?
Yes, for sure. For sure. And here it's like, there's so many people, there's so many comics here that it really forces you to be on your A game. Like it's competitive, you know? So it's like, you see other people like doing well and you're like, I can do better. Like it pushes you.
Is that the extent of how much you feel like competitive? Because people say, you know, comedians are competitive with each other. It's a competitive business. But is it competitive beyond just like, I see that person doing good and I want to do good? Or do you actually feel specific competitions with other people to get a certain gig or a certain job? Do you feel competitive in that nature? Or is it just like you want to do better because you see people doing well?
I think some people are like specifically competitive about certain things. Like, I want to get on like this show and this person got on this show before me or whatever. I think it can be easy to get into that mindset, but I just have more of a general focus. For me, it's more about like the jokes and like,
right.
You know, like the stage presence, like, they're doing this thing and it's getting a huge laugh. Like, I should try more stuff. And like, you know, it's more like that, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel a lot of the people I've spoken to have basically come back to just focus on your craft and be great. And then all those other things will come, whatever it is that you know, the successes, money, whatever the case may be, opportunities, that kind of just comes with being funny, I guess.
Yes, for sure. That's what it's about for me. I try to just like, I don't really care about the accolades as much with you know, like in terms of like jealousy or whatever. For me, it's more just like, oh man, who's crushing the hardest and how can I crush hard like that?
Yeah.
Like that's all I care about.
And if you can get one piece of inspiration, advice or inspiration for whatever the case may be, you know, a little piece of that, you know, for yourself to help yourself, then I guess it's inspiring. It turns out to be, you know, other people can inspire you.
Dude, for sure. And that's like something I like about the scene out here is like it's very nice. Like people are very nice for how big and how competitive this scene is.
That's what I found, and I've wondered, just because I haven't been going to I've been going to a lot more shows lately, but is it always been that way? Does it get different when if I'm hanging around higher, you know, more higher and higher level people at clubs who are TV regulars or whatever the case may be? Is it? But I think it just seems to be overwhelmingly supportive with just a few bad apples, obviously. It's not no one's perfect, and like you said, it's competitive and things can be cutthroat. But is that your experience overall too as well? It sounds like it's just a supportive community. Yeah,
definitely. Like I've had generally good experiences, you know, like you're saying, a couple bad apples or whatever. But like I think the thing about LA is that it's so humbling, because it's like, even if you do get a TV credit or like a big thing, no one cares, because there's hundreds of other people that have TV credits. So it means less here than like if you were like a comic from some other city, like, I don't know, like Seattle or I'm just saying Seattle. I've never been there. I don't know. But like if you were a comic in Seattle and you got like a bunch of TV credits in a year and you still were located in Seattle, you'd be like the fucking dude in Seattle. So you'd be like, I have all this power and I'm like, my status is higher than everyone else. But here it's like no one cares.
But I still feel like you got to celebrate your success.
Oh, of course.
At the same time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Not to diminish any kind of
no doubt
accomplishments or anything like that at all. I think that would be great. Dude, I'd be fucking so ecstatic if I had like a really solid like TV credit or like got a late nights. I would be I think happy.
Those things might be coming, my friend.
Thank you, man.
Keep at it. Keep at it.
I appreciate it. I hope so.
Well, we'll kind of work backwards a little bit.
Okay,
so tell me about when you first got to LA. What do you recall from those days? Patrick was not here. He did not move with you.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Stayed back Georgia doing comedy there.
Yes, he did. I remember I drove out here with my dad, and my car broke down in Palm Desert. We were so close. We were like 2 hours away from LA.
That's a great sign.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, okay, this is a good omen. But it was good. I ended up moving out here with some friends from college who also were interested in comedy, but not as much stand-up, more like improv and sketch and stuff. So lived with them for the first year out here. And it was good. I ended up, I was I was looking for a job, and I ended up getting a job at the Laugh Factory, which was cool. It was like in their video editing department.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was like, I got to like, be at the club every day and like, edit. Really, it was a cool job, like just like getting to work on stand-up clips all day, basically.
That's all. Yeah, it sounds like perfect for you.
Yeah, it was cool, man. And it was like, it also felt nice because it was like, just getting to help out other comics and like, like emailing them like, hey, can we use this clip? And then like, they give notes on it or whatever and like help,
Yeah, you're helping them.
Yeah, it was cool. It felt good, man. Putting it on YouTube or whatever, running their Instagram account for a while, and like, it was cool. And, it was cool to like stay after and watch people at the club too. Like just getting to watch like whoever I wanted basically perform and learning, just soaking it all in, So that was cool. I did that for about a year while I was out here. Then ended up, working at this post-production gig that I'm at right now, which I've been at for, I guess like a year and a half or 2 years, something like that. Trying to do the math. I'm so bad at math, I guess.
Yeah, you warned me.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're doing good. You've been working since you got here. You're part of the stand-up scene. You're making friends. You're making your way up the ranks.
Yeah. And the whole time staying in touch with Patrick and stuff, and ended up, so he took a break from doing stand-up for a while, and just through talking to him and stuff, got him to start doing it again, which was pretty cool. And then he came out here like a month ago, and he stayed with me for like a week and a half, and we just like hit open mics.
Yeah, I was going to ask if he did sets also.
Yeah. Like,
that must have been a ton of fun.
Dude, it really was. It was cool. It kind of like really felt like everything came full circle, and like, cause he's also part-time right now. He's kind of going through the same phase in his life. And, but yeah, like just doing like making it like a comedy trip, and like just kind of bonding over it and like catching up, and then also just like giving each other like ideas for jokes and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Are you trying to get him to move to LA?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I'm definitely. I think he's looking to move from Atlanta within like the next couple of years, because it seems like a lot of his friends have moved, and I think that he's interested in pursuing comedy more and more.
Yeah, there could be a lot of extenuating circumstances, so I'm not going to pressure him over the podcast.
No, Adam, do it. Call him out.
He's like, no, I'm taking care of my sick family and sick dog, and I have this and that, and I can't be, and then here I am sounding like a dick. I'm like, move to LA because it's fun, and you could do stand up here.
No, I don't think you sound like a dick at all.
Nothing in Atlanta and in Georgia is really keeping him there at the moment that you know of.
Yeah, I think that. There's a good scene in Atlanta there.
Yeah, that's true. It's a city.
Yeah. So I think that he's like, getting his roots down there. So I think it's hard to like move from one scene to another.
Yeah.
You basically just restart. Like it's like almost like starting again, because like nobody knows you, and you're it takes a while to get like booked on shows and stuff, and like.
Yeah, I've heard people echo similar comments for sure.
But I think that we should both pressure him into coming.
I think we just did.
Yeah, I think we might have succeeded right there. I hope he listens to this and this changes his mind.
It might. What are your long-term like goals? I mean, we kind of covered maybe a little bit, but like if your dream or your goal for comedy or is it to tour the country and world? Is it to do stadiums? Is it to have a Netflix special, TV series? What is there an end game, or is it just to do stand-up anywhere?
For me, I really, the thing I care the most about is stand-up. Like, it'd be dope to, act in something or get a job writing for a show. I would love to do that. I think it'd be a great experience. But I think long term for me, I want to just do whatever I can to keep doing stand up. And I would love to, have specials too. I mean, specials is definitely a goal, like multiple.
So it sounds like stand up is your primary focus, and little acting, writing some scripted things as well. But those aren't your primary focuses.
Yeah, that's not my hustle. I think that it'd be cool to get stuff like through stand up, just get opportunities through doing that. But
that's what it sounds like. There's a lot of people are taking, comedians who are also actors take that route. You don't go out on auditions or anything like that, or do you?
I've been okay. So I've been on one audition since I've been in LA. It was for a commercial, and it didn't go that well. And I don't know. I don't know if the audition thing is for me. I didn't really enjoy it. I don't know. I don't really. For me, it's like I get more joy from like writing something and then performing it.
Right.
And I don't really care about performing something that someone else has written.
Unless it's like a sketch that like a friend wrote or something that you collaborated
For
on.
sure, yeah.
That's where your acting is going to come from projects like that, something that you write, something that friends write, or people who just see you do stand-up where it's like, you would be perfect for this kind of thing. That sounds like primarily is kind of your...
Right. Yeah, definitely. That would be ideal. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really care about commercials really that much. That's like what I realized. I think like last year there's some point where I tried really hard. I was like, I got to get a commercial agent and like get some commercials and make some money and like
for money it's worth it.
yeah, for money it's worth it. Yeah, if anyone's listening to this and they're a commercial casting agent and they're just dying for a funny white guy in their commercial, I'm all ears. Yeah, pitch it.
You're the only one of those around.
Yeah, I'm the only one. I'm in high demand right now. But yeah, man, it's just stand up, dude. I just love it. I love it so much. Live comedy, I think, is like the greatest thing in the world.
I tend to agree with you.
Yeah. Hot take here.
It's up there on the list. Is it just that getting laughs, it just doesn't get old? It's at such a high that it never gets old.
I think that's part of it, but like, honestly, for me, it's not even necessarily about me when I'm doing it. It's more about like us. It's like everyone in the room is having a fun time.
Right. It's the energy in the room.
Yeah, that's what I feed off of, man. Like it brings me a lot of joy to know that other people are having fun. And then like I just reciprocate that and feed off of it. And it's so much fun. When it goes well. When it goes bad, it's like the loneliest thing.
You know what it is? It's like, I think with a comedy show, when someone's laughing versus maybe a music show or versus just a party or just a social event or even a movie, I guess a movie could be, like this. But if someone's laughing and smiling, they're having a good time. It's like confirmation. It's like proof. It's like, you're having a good time. You can't lie to me. Yeah. You laughed at my joke. I'm funny. I saw you smiling. I saw you laughing. It's like,
dude, it's like fifth grade all over again, man.
I guess
like, you guys accept me. I'm popular.
I mean, that's why I admire, comedians. And I know it's a tough job that you guys have, and that like, your job is to make people laugh, and if they're not laughing, you're not doing it right, or something's wrong,
Dude, yeah.
It's not like a speaker or where you just go up there and you could talk about a topic, and if you make some jokes, oh, he was a funny speaker.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself not jealous, but like almost annoyed with like you hear people complimenting other speakers and say that they're funny and think that they're funny, but they're not comedians, and you know what I mean? Like when people think that other people couldn't be comedians just because they're a funny person and they're maybe even a decent speaker. Does that annoy you at all?
No, it really doesn't, because it's like a different lane,
Right, that's true.
I think that maybe to your average Joe, they might see like, I don't know, like their pastor make a joke while he's like doing a sermon and it like crushes. But it's like, it's crushing because it's the pastor. Like no one's expecting him to make a joke. If he's even a little bit funny, it's gonna murder. You know what I mean? Like in the room or whatever. Right, because
people are caught off guard. And it's just unexpected in a pleasant way, I guess. Too.
Right. And it's never. Yeah, I'm never like threatened. But I think my favorite thing is like when I'm at a party and some like dude learns that I'm a comedian, and then he's trying to be. You can tell he's trying really hard to be funnier than me, or than the comedian at the party. Because it's like
weird.
Yeah, and that happens to me a lot. And I always just think it's funny because it's just like I'm not like on right now. Like I don't care. Like I'm at a party. I'm not like counting points.
That's a weird thing to do, to try to be funnier than the comedian. See, what I try to do is just try to make the comedian laugh.
Yeah.
I feel like if I made them laugh, that's like. Because I'm a writer also, so I feel like that's kind of like good for my writer's ego. It's like, I made them laugh, I can write jokes too. Not maybe in a stand-up way, but like
sure. Yeah, but it means something. Yeah. But yeah, it's weird when people try to like do that. I think it's like a weird like alpha thing or whatever. Right. I don't know what it is, but yeah, man. I think it's funny when it happens because I don't know. Yeah,
that type of dude, you could have told him any job and he's going to want to challenge you on whatever it is.
Yeah. Be like, no, I can do it.
You're a doctor. I can do it. But I'm right now.
Give me a knife. Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, it's super weird. I don't know. But yeah, I also think that like one thing that's weird about comedy too is that like people don't understand, like people don't really get it. Like people don't understand what it is. Like what people don't understand like what being a comedian actually is. Like what the day-to-day is like. Like they might think that they can do it and maybe they are funny and they try it out and they're like, okay, cool. But they don't understand the work that it takes, or they don't understand like the amounts of times you have to bomb. And the
average person, sure.
Yeah, and they don't get like, you don't get paid like ever if it's like, especially if it's like in LA or whatever. And they have like they like watch a Netflix special and they're like, oh, this is what comedy is. And it's like, no, that's what comedy is like when you've reached like the pinnacle of doing it for like years and years and years, right? So I always think that that's funny when like, you know, as someone who just watches like Netflix specials, they don't go to like live shows ever or whatever. They don't get the context of it all. And then they're like trying to like tell you about comedy or whatever. That to me happens a lot too. And I think that's funny within itself because it's just like someone just speaking out of just total ignorance.
Do you get that from people completely outside of entertainment industry, or do you even get that from people who are in entertainment in some capacity, but not necessarily comedians? Do you get ignorant questions from people in entertainment who are not comedians? I would guess.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Cause to me, it's like, that category of person is in both of those fields. I mean, it could be like a family member.
Sure.
Like,
of course.
like I was saying, like when I went up to New Jersey, it was like, I had uncles pitching me all these like ideas for skits, as they called it, for my stand-up or whatever. Or like something would happen and they'd be like, you should talk about this in your stand-up. I'm like, there's no way that this would translate into, you know, but like,
I feel like what I've seen from comedians and in conversations and I'm on stage is that anytime they're being pitched ideas or being asked stupid questions, that those things being made fun of is what ends up in the act, not the actual joke being pitched, but the idea of the joke being pitched by the weird family member.
Yeah, exactly.
Setting it up by explaining who the weird family member is.
Yes.
That becomes the joke.
Dude, that's always what it is.
Yeah.
There's a really funny dude, Caleb Sinan, who's from Georgia. He lives out here now. But he has a joke. I think he told it on Conan. But he has a joke about his family passing by a Dairy Queen, and the sign said free lizards or something like that, but it was supposed to say free blizzards. But then they just thought that was fucking hysterical. They're like, free lizards? Can you believe that? Yeah. Like, you should do that. And then the whole bit is just him making fun of them. Like, yeah, it's exactly what he said. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is, it's hilarious. But yeah, man.
It's been a trip.
Yeah, it truly has.
Cool. Well, I definitely appreciate your time and telling your story and talking comedy. And
Adam, you're a gentleman.
Patrick
McPherson, baby. Check him out.
For sure.
Especially if you're in the Atlanta area.
What are you working on these days? If you want to tell people any upcoming shows or what you're working on, and tell
for
people
sure
how to find you, plug things, do contacts, do it. The floor's yours.
Plug it up, baby. I run 2 shows. One of them is a weekly show at Bar Lubitsch every Tuesday night at 11 p.m. It's called Heavy Heavy Low Low. Check that out. It's always a fun time. And then I run a bi-monthly show twice a month at this place called Eno Vino. It's a wine bar, and it's like in the cellar. It's very cool. Adam's been there before.
It's a cool spot.
Yeah, it's a cool spot. That's called Vino Underground, and that's the first and third Saturday of every month, 9 p.m., baby.
Cool. And how can people follow you?
Follow me on Instagram, Twitter. Hell, friend me on Facebook. I'll accept that friend request. Kyle Rehl, KYLEREHL for all platforms.
Sweet. Simple enough.
Yeah, man.
Again, I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Adam.
I'm sure I'll see you on the show soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Peace. So there you have it. My conversation with Kyle Rehl. What a fun conversation. I really admire this dude's passion for comedy. I could see it. We could hear it. And we all look forward to Patrick McPherson moving to LA soon, too. Anyway, for everything about this show, of course, head to peoplewelovepodcast.com. And I think that's about all I got for today. I appreciate you guys listening. Thanks as always, and let's talk soon. Peace.